Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Marketing for Small Businesses for TV, radio, and print. We are so excited to be joined by some local experts today to really talk to us about these mediums, give us some tips and tricks, and also introduce us to themselves and their organizations. I'm so happy to be joined today by Jamie Van Pelt of ESP Media, Carlos Wilder of CTW Broadcasting, Darius Baker with Hallelujah 95.3 FM, Vaughn Wilson with Mega Ace Media, and Tracy Cohen with Target Print and Mail. Thank you all for joining us today. Awesome. Well, we will go ahead and jump into it. I know we have so many great presentations from our panelists today, and there will be a portion at the end if you have any questions and answers or questions for any of our panelists today about these three different mediums. But I would love to go ahead and get started with Jamie Van Pelt with ESP Media. Jamie?
Yeah, thank you, Kiana, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see some familiar faces on the panel. And just as a quick aside before I get going, a lot of these folks are folks that we work with on a daily basis. We try to work with a lot of local firms to help our clients get their message out there as efficiently and effectively as possible. And so it's great to see some folks that we've all worked with before and some incredible professionals on this panel. I'm excited to be here. As Kiana said, my name is Jamie Van Pelt. I'm the president of ESP Media, Marketing and Communications here in Tallahassee, Florida. We've been around as a firm for just under 15 years now, helping our clients achieve their goals. And so I know I have a very few minutes, so the way that I kind of thought about this presentation is a couple of tips and tricks and some questions that you should be asking yourself as a small business owner when you're thinking about delving into any sort of marketing, whether it be TV, radio, or print, because while social media may dominate the day, it's not the only way that you're going to reach your audience. And so I'll talk about that here in just a minute. But again, I'd be happy to answer any questions further as we move through the presentation. And I'm not sure whether there's a chat feature or anything like that. It looks like there may be, but please feel free to shoot a question in the chat if you have one. And so I'm going to do the very brave thing of trying to share my screen. So we'll see how that works out. And if it doesn't, then you'll just get to look at my face when I talk. So I apologize in advance for that. So I'll share just a small presentation here. How's that? Can we see that?
Okay.
Yes. We see your
basic
website.
PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a PowerPoint. Is that right?
No, I just see the website.
All right. Let's get out of there then. Here we go. There we go. There we go. How about that? Does that look like a PowerPoint?
Yes.
All right. Sorry that I'm.
And if you want to go full screen, so we can.
How about that? Boom. So as I mentioned, ESP Media, we're a marketing communications firm. And just a couple of tips and tricks and some questions you should be asking yourself about how to get the most out of your next marketing campaign. So first, who's your audience? So this is a really important question that far too few folks actually ask themselves. And if you're wondering why this is such a basic PowerPoint, it's because I did it myself. So thank goodness I have a team of incredibly creative professionals who are working hard for our clients. But this is what you get from me. So sorry about that. But so first and foremost, when we're talking about an audience, it's not always going to be the same for each and every medium. And then also, we need to make sure that we're thinking a little bit more around specifics and a little bit less around like, well, all of Tallahassee is my audience, because that's not necessarily true. So a couple of key things. What do you know about them? What pieces of information do you already have about the folks that may be looking for your products or your services? 2, how do they get their information? You want to make sure that wherever they are looking, you are there to help them find what they need. And then 3, do their habits change with time? Throughout the year, obviously, we know there are ebbs and flows in every season. We want to make sure that you're saying the right thing to the right people at the right time. So keep in mind that these things change over time. Second piece of this, what's your budget? So obviously, all of these are potentially some paid ways to market yourself and your business. So you got to, as we all know, as business people, you got to spend money to make money. So you need to understand saturation and coverage. And what I mean by saturation and coverage is if you're doing a radio campaign and you want to make sure that you're getting all of the area covered by Cumulus Broadcasting, well, you're going to need to know exactly how much it's going to cost and for how long to really saturate that market and make sure that the people who are trying to hear your message actually do hear it. Then which avenue is right for you? TV, radio, or mail. A lot of these things are costly, and you want to make sure that if you're going to spend the money, that the folks that need to hear your message are the ones that are actually hearing it. So figure out with whatever your budget is, what's going to be most cost effective. It's pretty straightforward, but it's something that people don't often think about. Everybody thinks, oh, I want to be on TV. But if you don't have the right budget for it, folks ain't going to see it. And then how do you get the most bang for your buck? And that's kind of putting a ribbon on the whole budget piece. And that is looking at how long you need this campaign to go, and then marrying that with just how saturated you want your message to be. And that's all of that stuff is a cost benefit analysis. And it's all incredibly important as you're putting together your campaigns. And then finally, the most important thing, what is your message? Folks, this is probably the most basic question, but it's the one often that our clients get wrong the most. And I'm not saying I'm not disparaging our clients, but that's why we come in and help out as we can. We need to make sure that our message is clear, concise, and calculated. Why are you spending this money on marketing yourself and your business? What is the reason? Is there a special reason that it's right now? Think about as you're talking to some folks that you're trying to buy either ad space or space in their paper or some airtime on Heaven. Why are you talking to them right this second? And then finally, what are you trying to articulate versus what is your audience actually hearing? And this is a huge one. Communication is a two-way street here. And if you think you're articulating one thing, but actually you're saying something else, the message is lost entirely. So you got to make sure that what you're actually saying is what your audience is actually taking in. And that's a hard skill, but it's one that is really important to create a compelling marketing campaign for your small business. And so with that, I will stop sharing. Did I stop sharing?
Yes, you did.
We're back. Awesome. So I know it was very quick and very basic, but we appreciate the opportunity to present.
No, thank you so much, Jamie, for being here. Very concise, but great points for our small businesses. So thank you so much. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and go to our next panelist. I will go to Vaughn Wilson with Mega Ace Media. Thank you so much, Vaughn, for joining us.
Thank you. And thank everyone for joining us today. And today, my message, I'm not as organized as Jamie with a PowerPoint presentation, and with the time that I have, I'll just be frank about small businesses. Today, small businesses seem to think that television, print, and newspaper, print, and radio are mediums that are out of their range, but that's absolutely not the case, because those media agencies had difficult times going through the pandemic as well. Here in Tallahassee, our Tallahassee Democrat has downsized from that traditional building that they had that we knew as the iconic space for the Tallahassee Democrat down to a much smaller space. They're not even printing here. It's being outsourced as these newspapers have combined. With the shrinking of the media industry, they have made available their media at affordable prices. There are specials that go on. I would say to contact the radio stations. I have personally placed ads for entities, and the deals that you can get on radio stations are incredible now. And you can look at a product like Live Communications, which has the Capital Outlook newspaper, as well as Hallelujah 95.3 radio stations. They have combo packages available. So just as you shop and you see combos, look for those opportunities. There are opportunities everywhere to be affordable to small businesses. And probably my biggest comment to small businesses as far as their media is to make sure that when you have that opportunity to make that presentation, that it represents you and your business and what you want to portray as your business. I'm going to share a small video. The first part does not have the audio. The second part does have audio, but it's a before and after of a company during the pandemic, and this happened to be a church, and they began streaming. And we're going to portray this streaming as an advertisement, because in this vicinity, that social media sometimes can also, it's a major part of your branding. So I'm going to show this video clip. It's very short. It's going to show an individual before I began working with them. And then the after video was after we came in and consulted with them and got their product right. This is also true for broadcasts. A good way that small businesses can access television is by producing your own product and putting it on public access, because it also has the opportunity to catch people channel flipping. So I'm going to share this short presentation and conclude shortly thereafter.
Hope fun. I just wanted to let you know that we can't hear the video if you want to turn your audio
No, there's no
on.
audio on the first part.
Okay, gotcha.
On the second part, there will be audio.
Well, God bless you and happy Sunday to you. Listen, I'm excited. I'm always excited about the word on Sundays and Tuesdays. And I pray that you have been practicing, the walk humble.
Well, I just wanted to show that short video as an example of what even small businesses in any market that you're in, whether it's television, print, or radio, or even in the social media realm, how you present yourself in a professional fashion is important, because you're not being judged against other small businesses. You're in the space with major corporations. So you have to extend the effort to make sure that whatever you're presenting looks bigger possibly than it actually is. And with the professionals on here, I'm glad to be on with, I've worked with possibly everybody on here pretty much, and all of them are great people. And so get the help of a professional. If your specialty is not media, make sure you see a media specialist that can make you look the way that other corporations look.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Vaughn. We really appreciate it. The difference between those videos were like night and day. So definitely take his advice, get the help of a professional. So you can go from before to after. So thank you so much, Vaughn. Awesome. Well, now we'll move on to Tracy Cohen with Target Print and Mail. Thank you so much for joining us, Tracy.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I just have a couple quick things to share. My name is Tracy Cohen. I am the president of Target Print and Mail. We are a local commercial printer that has been in Tallahassee since 1982. The business was actually started by my mother, and I took over the business about 17 years ago, and have been running it ever since. But we have kind of transitioned over time from a campus coffee shop to a commercial printer. We do not necessarily always design campaigns. We do help small customers kind of create their messages and do design print materials for their businesses. But most of the time we work downstream from people like Jamie and Vaughn, and kind of basically bring their ideas and their concepts to life in a tangible format called print marketing. It is something that I think a lot of people think is kind of outdated, but I beg to differ. It's actually still one of the most effective forms of communication that exists in marketing today. I'm going to also try to share a quick slide that kind of tells a little bit about, tells a little bit about print marketing. Oh, is it going to work? Oh, but it's so. Are you guys getting the flashing?
Yes.
Tracy, it looks like you need the help of a professional communications firm.
I am obviously not very good at this at all. Okay, but I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna read it, and I think that that's just gonna go over a lot better for everybody. So, all right. So, a few quick facts about print marketing. First of all, direct mail has a response rate that is 37% higher than email marketing. One big thing about direct mail that not everybody does it, and especially right now, there's a lot of opportunity in the mailboxes because people are just not looking at their marketing budgets and thinking about print. But I don't get a lot of mail every day, which means that there's opportunity to pull in some more ideas and some more marketing in there. It's tangible. It has to be dealt with. Unlike an email inbox or a scrolling screen on social media, you have to interact with it in some way, shape, or form when it's received. You have to basically touch it, decide what you're going to do with it, whether it's keep it, read it, or recycle it. Either way, it has to be dealt with in some way, and there is tangible evidence of retention as a result of that just mere touching it. In addition, 88% of Americans believe that they understand, retain, and use information better when they read printed material rather than online. It's just a fact. Still, like when you read a physical book, you will understand it and retain it better than if you are reading it on a screen. It's just something that works within our brain synapses. And lastly, print has real staying power, unlike digital media, which is also very powerful and has its place. Things like flyers and magazines, door hangers, programs, funeral programs, these are all things that people hold on to and keep, or it might stick around in a pile for a while in your kitchen until you decide to toss it. But at the very least, it is something that people actually have a little bit of trouble, especially if it's personalized, especially if it has meaning to them. They have trouble getting rid of it because it actually has tangible form. So, I mean, print really does have a huge part of the marketing mix. It is not everything. It's not the only way to communicate, but it should be a part of every really successful marketing campaign. And that's basically all I have to say about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. I really agree with you. I feel like print with that tangible form, it definitely makes such a difference than social media. It's like with social media, you can keep scrolling if you want to, but, with print, you have it. It's there with you. Like you said, you can either keep it, recycle it, toss it, whatever the case may be, but it's a tangible form of marketing. So thank you so much, Tracy. Awesome. I see that we're joined by Doc D with Hallelujah 95.3 FM. Thank you so much for joining us, Doc D.
No problem at all. I apologize. I've been having internet problems. I don't know if I'm coming in clear or not, but Xfinity is doing a job out here, 27 in this area. Am I coming in?
You must live next to Vaughn because he's been having them issues too.
Yes, it's beyond my control. It's on the company, so I don't know. Am I coming in clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay, well, great. Well, it's an honor to be on a panel with such esteemed guests, and I've worked with many of the folks that's on right now on behalf of Heaven Hallelujah 95.3, where I am now. I was previously at another great radio station here, a gospel station on the Cumulus, but decided to go on a journey and to be a part of something else that's great with Hallelujah 95.3, and we've done some tremendous things. And I think radio is still needed. It's still a lot of people tend to listen to radio for the local aspect of things. I mean, XM radio, satellite, all that is great, and I know a lot of people listen to that. But folks want to hear what's going on in their community. They want to hear what's going on local during their commute to work, or just driving to lunch. They tune in and just to hear a local personality talk about what's happening right there in their city. It makes folks feel good. Now, my aspect, how I kind of come in with clients that want to promote something, or they have a show idea, they have a community segment that they want to get out there. I like to be creative, and that's what God has blessed me with, a creative mind to kind of think what's going to set this person apart and what's going to stay in the minds of the listeners. So it's always good to kind of have definitely professionalism at the forefront, your sound quality, your intros, your outros, and just how you deliver to the audience. But also, along with a radio program, you got to have marketing. You got to, folks don't know to tune in if they don't see it. So that's where, you know, your Vaughn Wilsons and Jamie and all the great people that's on here will come into play to promote your radio show or to promote what's going on. And once they go hand in hand, we know with internet, you know, you can listen worldwide, and a lot of churches have ministries that really do things in the community, and they need support as well. So when you tie in both of those aspects, and we're now on an Alexa, that was one of the things that I was, you know, that was at the forefront when I took this job. I said, let me get this station up to standard. Let me get this station up to standard. And yes, indeed, you know, every station has different levels and different, different money that they're working with, you know, but I like to be creative, you know, and I know that it's ways that if you don't have as much money as someone else, you still, I mean, the internet is free right now. It still is free. So you have to think of creative ways. Just because you don't have a huge budget like another entity, there are ways that you can still work, and it's going to take work for you to actually get your product and get whatever you're providing the community out. So as far as radio is concerned, your commercials, your 60s, your 30 seconds commercial, your 15-second liners, we know repetition definitely, goes a long way with when they're hearing things, but also I think that sometimes your message will get lost if it's kind of drawn out, you know, and folks will get used to that they're listening, but they're not hearing, if that makes sense. So if you're creative with what you're doing, it'll stand out more, and people they'll want to listen instead of just hear what your spot is or what your segment is. That's my job. I don't just take a spot, just to get a client on. Just, hey, let's go on the radio. I'm listening just like a listener. I say, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we try a different bed or a different soundtrack under your voice with this segment? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I just love to do things different, and not all program directors work that way, but it's worked for me thus far. We're still nominated this year, and hopefully, we'll bring home that award to Tallahassee. And I'm just, I'm happy to be one of the many vessels here in radio in Tallahassee that's getting important information out to the community. And no better time than this with COVID that's happening, and we're doing good, but we can be doing better. And just getting information out about our businesses, our small businesses, that's what we're here for. And so don't think that you don't have enough of a budget or enough money. No, don't think that way. Let me know, as far as I can speak on behalf of Hallelujah 95.3. Let me know what you have to work with, and I tell you what we can do. And I like to get results for my clients, and that's just that's about what I want to say on radio right now as far as 95.3.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sirius. Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head when you were saying the local aspect is really what's pushing radio. And I can say for myself, you're definitely doing a great job with Hallelujah 95.3. So,
Thank
yeah, so awesome.
What
were you saying? Oh, no, thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we'll go to Carlos Waller with CTW Broadcasting to wrap this up. Thank you, Carlos.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey.
So thank you all for letting me join you guys. It's I guess I'm gonna last. Everybody said all the things. So I'll start by, so my name is Carlos Wilder. I'm the owner of CTW Broadcasting, and what we offer is that we are content creators. That's all we do. We just create content. We work with businesses. Sometimes we work with individuals, but mostly we work with businesses, and we create premium content. We try to do our very best to just connect our clients with their customers in the best way possible. We take no shortcuts when it comes to our biggest thing is quality. And so what I want to do is I want to play just a 1-minute video, just kind of like reel, just kind of show you what we do. And then after that plays, I will touch on a few topics. I had to cut them down some because a lot of people said a lot of things already. So I'll touch on a few, give a few tips on how I approach creating the content. And yeah, so if you can, I guess.
CTW Broadcasting has created world-class quality digital audio-visual content for various companies and institutions, which has allowed us to gain a great deal of experience. CTW Broadcasting is that missing piece of your puzzle that can help provide high-definition, world-class quality digital multimedia content and talents that include the production of TV and digital commercials, motion graphics, interactive social media ads, print ads, sound design, and music beds. The content created by CTW Broadcasting will give you the competitive advantage that will help propel your company to the next level. Contact us today or visit us at www.ctwbc.com.
Thank you. So some of the topics on, so one right off the top, when you create a video, when I create a video, and I create it with a story in mind, because I want to tell the client's story. I don't want to just say, this is a video, boom, just look at it. I feel like my client has to have a reason, their customers have to have a reason to actually watch the video. So when there's a story behind it, people get intrigued by the story and they buy into it and they absorb the content and take action. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Make that 1 minute video the best 1 minute video. Don't drag it out too much. Just get to the point. Tell the story in that, but just get to the point. We live in an age now where there's a lot of short attention spans. And so sometimes people just look at it and say, oh, this thing is 4 minutes long, I'm not watching. They'll just discount it right off the top. So, so that's that. And then, put some humor into the video, don't make it boring, make people laugh, try to invoke some type of emotion. That way that, that audience can connect with the video. And then, so another one is educate your customers, and improve yourself in that content. And then lastly, just be brand consistent, whether that's quality or whatever your message is, be consistent throughout that piece and just have fun. So that's all I really have to say about it, but I'm just approaching everything from a content creator. And thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it. We will go into the question and answer portion now of the webinar. Just as a reminder, if you're watching and have any questions for our panelists, feel free to put those in the comments below. But I will start off with my own question and just ask, what are some advantages of your mediums as advertisements for small businesses? Like, how are your mediums so relevant in the age of social media? And I'll pass that off to whoever wants to take it first. Don't all jump in at one time at the same time.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead, and okay. I'm coming at this obviously not with the expertise of Doc or any folks that are in the actual production of these sorts of media space, but just as a consultant, I tell my clients, you want to make sure that you are casting a broad net. Frankly, people are a little bit burned out on social media right this second, and I think Tracy made a great point. That could kind of echo throughout. While it's certainly true for print advertising and marketing, it can be true for other things too. Folks are kind of just scrolling at this point, and it doesn't force you to stop and listen. Whereas, if you're in the car listening to Hallelujah and an ad comes on, you can't scroll right past it. You're sort of there with that ad. If you're on TV watching the news, you can't necessarily. I mean, you can change the channel if you want to, but you can't necessarily. It's not as easy to avoid these things. And so I think while you're trying to blanket and get yourself as saturated as possible, you really want to. Don't limit yourself just to social media, and that's coming from a firm that handles a lot of social media. But we know that when we're trying to run a successful campaign, not everybody is everywhere. So you want to try to be as everywhere as you possibly can. And so these are very much still relevant, and the professionals on this panel are doing a heck of a job to keep them relevant. So I would absolutely articulate that it's not. It's certainly not lost in the age of social media, and I believe it's coming back.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I too am already getting kind of social media fatigue, scrolling just all the time. It just seems like such a, routine, like you were saying. So that's a great point. Anyone else want to add to that?
I'll add in for just a second, just to say that, I mean, as a consumer, I know that social media is great, and I'm exposed to lots of new products and new ideas through social media, which I love. But the problem is that, like, I'll see something and then I'll say, oh, I really want to buy that dress that I saw on social media, and I can't ever find it again because I don't remember what it was called. I don't know the company that came out with it. I just saw it once on my feed. And I think that there's something to be said for, repetition and being able to find things in other locations, whether it is print, whether it's on a website, whether it is it's not, social media is great, but it is not the only way to get your message across because it just doesn't have the retention of other medias.
That's true. That's very true.
I totally agree with Tracy. The years I've my business and clients, we've had plenty of stuff. Probably the biggest client that always needs it done yesterday is the Moon. So Tracy will probably smile at that because I produce a lot of things for the Moon. It's always by the time we send it to them, they already need it. But all of us have clients like that. But also, just being able to go back as you have live events. If something flashes up on a screen at a live event, that has some impact. But if they're able to walk away with a flyer that they can look at, if it's dropped in a goodie bag, I mean, how many of us have gone to and they give you this goodie bag? You're actually going to look at each piece, whether you care or not, that's one thing. But you're actually going to look at everything that was in that goodie bag. Just this past weekend at a COVID vaccination site, the Department of Health and these agencies were there. There were good materials, and guess what? Some of them are trash, but some of those pieces I still have. So print and especially radio now, the extra value that you can get, I think it's important for businesses to negotiate, whether it's television, radio, or print, negotiate your rate because they are right now at this point in time. Print a little more difficult because the cost of paper is going up tremendously and transferring that paper in. But as far as television and radio, negotiating packages is probably at an all-time high.
That's very true. And we have some questions and comments from the audience as well. Carrie Throw, hey Carrie, said, so true, Jamie, multiple touch points across mediums give you diversity in audience, but also frequency with intended audiences. So thank you, Carrie, for watching today. We also have a question from Pamela Ridley, are the yellow pages obsolete in today's marketing? Anyone want to take that?
I don't want to hurt the feelings of the yellow page people, so I'm not going to answer this question.
Oh, no.
I'll answer it. Yes, the answer is yes. Unfortunately, I mean, the yellow pages, they still maintain websites, I personally have not received a book at my doorstep in a long time. Maybe they still deliver them, but I do not think that that's an effective form of advertising. Everybody, this is how you get in touch with things and you learn about things, is right here. And so this is where you need to be. If you want to be found, it's here.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Awesome. I know that Carrie kind of mentioned this with intended audiences, but how can small businesses kind of target their audience more specifically with their mediums, like through TV, print, and radio? How would that kind of work? Anyone want to take that question?
I can jump in on that one. And obviously I welcome the rest of the panel to have a little bit of a conversation with me on this, but I think first and foremost, you have to know who your audience is. And I mentioned it in my presentation, but so few of our clients truly have it drilled down to who exactly they're trying to talk to. And I think, if you're the many times I've worked with Doc and Vaughn and Tracy and Jeremy over at Target as well, what we discuss a lot is who you're trying to talk with, right? And that's when you decide, and you can be targeted. And everybody says, you take out a Facebook ad or you take out a YouTube ad, and you can, type in where you want to go, where you want it to go, and that's great. But folks don't realize you can do that too on TV and radio and print if you're willing to put the work in to decide who your audience is and where they are. So, for example, if we're putting a radio ad on Hallelujah, then we know that we're talking to people of faith or people who are interested in gospel music. For example, if we're trying to put a radio ad on 96.1 Jams, maybe during the Sean Pittman show on Sundays at 9:30, then we know that we're talking to a specific targeted audience. And if we're running an ad on HGTV, then we know that folks are looking to improve their homes. So there are little pieces of information in every single campaign that we do that can absolutely help us target exactly where we want to go. And remember, another critical piece of this is timing. So we know that we'll take radio again as an example. You want to be on drive time radio, right? It doesn't make as much sense to do it at 2:00 in the afternoon or at 11 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, because people frankly just are not in their cars. They're at work at that point. So you want to be 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., some lunchtime, and immediately after work. The same goes for TV, because folks aren't watching TV when they're in the office, at least not the job that I have. But there's certainly some targeting that can be done if you're willing to think critically about your product and about your audience.
Great points. Anyone else want to add to that question? Awesome. We'll go ahead. Oh, someone had something to say.
I
Okay.
agree with Jamie wholeheartedly on that, knowing your demographic and who you're trying to reach. But one of the great things too in radio, and same thing with the print, having a good account executive to actually guide you in the right direction is key. Not all are, but having an experienced one will take your money farther than what it is. And that's just like if you're targeting youth or millennials, it's all right to run on a 24-hour rotation. I mean, you spend that 1 or 2 in the morning, you would think, okay, nobody's listening, but they just getting out of the club. Just be honest with you, they still out and about. And those times are a lot cheaper than running during like on 96 doing the Ricky Smiley or doing drive time on Hallelujah. You just got to know who you're targeting, and then get an experienced account executive that's going to be transparent with you to take your money as far as it can go. I think people, you mentioned social media earlier. I know people are scrolling now, but a lot of people, you don't go by the likes. I'm not an analytical person. I know people that do this for a living, but just because they're not liking it or not commenting on it, that doesn't mean it's not being seen. A lot of people, they'll scroll past it, but how do you have it posted? And this is free. I'm a strong advocate for free marketing, and I know that's kind of like, okay, well, Doc, you're trying to sell ads at radio. No, they work hand in hand. If it's free and it's there, you just have to know how to do it. And you have some young people who are making a living off of just social media. They know how to work what to say, what the hashtag. It may not even have nothing to do with the post, but the hashtag will bring on 1,000 more views. They just know how to work it, and having a link to what you are promoting within your post is key, because people will look at it, and if they're interested, then to click on it, to go to it. I also am a promoter with shows and things that I do here other than Hallelujah. So I sell many tickets online without radio. And I'm talking against myself, but I'm saying it's useful. It's useful. So with people who are listening, don't turn away from that free marketing as far as social media is concerned. Get someone who knows how to post, when to post, what time, what days, all of that. They know it. I'm not an expert in that. I'm still learning. But I'm telling you, once you get the science of it, it will go a long, long way.
Yeah, that's great. And I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I say I totally agree with everyone. And even when we're creating, even the content side of things, when it's in the conception of it, it's all about creating it for the client's audience, the ones that they're trying to target. So whatever that means in that commercial or ad piece, it starts at that point. And that's how we start the creation. Because if we just create something and we're trying to target middle-aged people, what we create something that, a 12-year-old would like, then we've missed our mark. So, yeah.
No, I think that's a great point. Awesome. And I think Lanisha Thornton, who's joining us on the webinar today on Facebook Live, she also agrees too. She said that is so true. So thank you so much, Darius and Carlos, for those points. We are going to go ahead and wrap up this webinar, but I want to leave our audience with just some lasting advice. So I'm just going to go to each panelist, give your lasting advice for TV, print, and radio to our audience, small businesses, anything that you didn't get a chance to say that you just want them to know. And I'll start off with Jamie. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I was just reading. I was reading a couple of comments that are coming through on Facebook, so I was just trying to make sure we got everybody. But I would say, listen, the easiest way to get a compelling campaign is know exactly who you are and market your values, right? It's easy to do what I do what Vaughn does, do what the rest of these folks do. If you're authentically telling a story, right? It's hard to sell something you don't believe in. So make sure, no matter what you're doing, it's something that aligns with your values, because that comes through really effectively when you're a content creator or when you're a print house or whatever the case may be. But know who you are, market yourself in that way, and then the last piece is just know your audience, because it's invaluable to make sure that you're talking to the right people at the right times with the right message, and that comes first and foremost by knowing who that is. So obviously, I really appreciate the opportunity to join you all today and be on this esteemed panel with folks I probably don't deserve to be up next to, but it's great to be here anyway, and I look forward to continuing conversations in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. And before we move on, we did get a comment too from Carrie, kind of basically confirming what you were saying, but identifying what you need or want to accomplish is important, and figuring out what your audience needs as well. So thank you so much, Carrie, for that. And Carlos, go ahead with your advice.
So like I said, my last piece of advice is just, educate your customers, educate them, and prove what you're trying to say to them. I mean, prove it to them, like, help them to feel what you're saying through that content, through that, whether it's graphic design or, whatever medium it is, video. And I think that will just, people like to learn. I truly believe that, and they do it in different forms, whether it's scrolling on Instagram or reading an article. I do think people want to know more than they currently know, and so I think if you can embed that into the medium that you're presenting to them, I think they will accept it a little bit better. Very true. Just have fun with what you're doing. Just don't forget to have fun. And again, thank you for allowing me to be on this panel. I think I've worked with most of you guys, or at least met some of you. I think, Jamie, I've never met you before, but hello. And
nice to meet you now.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos.
Doc. And also, Doc D, I think I may have worked with you indirectly, but I've met you. But also, great to meet you as well. And I know Vaughn. Vaughn's a great guy. I've known him for, not a long time, but I've known him long enough to know he's a really good guy to work with. I met Tracy. I think Tracy's been to my studio, and I've been to her office, and we've done some things together as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Now to you, Tracy.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, I just want people to know that marketing is so much more than just getting your message across. It's branding. It's putting yourself out there. And one simple way, like I'll give a small business tip that I think is really important, and it involves print, is one simple way to really make a difference, I think, as a small business owner is thank you notes, is getting customized thank you notes or some sort of messaging with your branding on it that just is a way to reach out to your customers on a one-to-one basis and say, thank you, I really appreciate your business. That's branding. Whether you know it or not, it's marketing, and it's basically ensuring loyalty. There's so many things like that you can do that are really budget conscious and are really effective at really growing your brand and growing your business. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I've enjoyed being with each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. And that's so important, and a good note that you had. I've been on both sides of that, working for a company that has received a thank you note and, being a part of a company that has sent the thank you note. So yeah, that is a great way to brand. So thank you so much for that. Vaughn?
Tracy, that advice was so good. I think I need to put in an order with you. That's good. Because I've been on the receiving end, and I've called people, but that note that people sent me really does make a difference. And second, Bruce sent a comment and said, does Tallahassee Leon need a streaming platform? Absolutely not. I think we are social media oversaturated right now. And so just to answer that question from my standpoint, no, I actually would not advise a client to go to a different platform. So I just wanted to make sure we answered that within there. But my piece of advice, to make sure you negotiate, whether it's print, whether it's radio, or television, if you're going to go to those media, make sure you get the best deal you can for your business, and make sure that you are portraying the image or getting the message out that you want to. Just having a pretty commercial up about your business, to have a commercial up is no good. The end result has to be presented in your video, in your printed piece, in your radio commercial.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Vaughn. Yep, I think that even is confirming what Jamie was saying earlier with get the best bang for your buck. So definitely great advice all around. And Darius?
Yes, great discussion, and once again, honored to be on the panel. I would say this: listen, you work hard on your product, on your service, what you're doing. Don't stop when it comes to making your commercial. Don't stop when it comes to making your TV or your ad. That should be done in excellence as well. As radio programmers, but believe it or not, we program commercials too. You have the break, but we have an option of having a commercial at the top of the break or the bottom of the break. You're still trying to keep the listeners listening. So even though it's not a song, it's still a quality of your commercial that could make people either keep listening or turning to another channel, surfing while your break is on, and then they'll surf back to your radio station. So your commercial has to sound, 5 stars, just like your product, and sometimes, I will tell a client, hey, I know your product. I know what you're doing is great, but your commercial don't sound nothing like it. It doesn't present it well. And I know a listener, they're listening to it, they may surf, so just take pride in that. Take pride in your promotion, because you work hard for what you're doing, your business, your service. Don't slack on it. Don't slack on that part. And call me if you're interested in radio, reaching a faith-based community, and it's just not gospel with Hallelujah. Gospel folks buy it, they eat, they buy cars and everything. If you're interested in being on radio, give me a call and I'll work with you. Don't matter what the budget is, and any help that I can give. And it's not about finance. Any help that I can give and I have time to do it, hey, just give me a call, 850-321-5765, and we'll get you in, and I'll direct you to some of these great people that's on if you're interested in TV, and let's get it going, because you work hard. So that's what I'm here for, being the program director in radio, is to promote you and to get some activity going to your business. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you, Darius. And what a great way to end this webinar with that great advice. So thank you all again for joining us. And thank you everyone on Facebook and YouTube for joining us as well. Definitely feel free to reach out to any of our panelists regarding any of your TV, print, and radio needs. Like they said, they will help you out. You work too hard to not have your business out there. So definitely reach out to our great panelists. And thank you so much. And join us back for our last marketing series on branding. We'll be doing that on June 23rd, I believe, 2 weeks from now. So definitely join us back for that. We'll have another great panel talking to us about branding. So thank you so much and have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.